Today's project is block printed greeting cards. We're going to be using rubber blocks to carve on, these tools from Speedball for the actual carving, a brayer to roll the ink and the card, and some rubber stamps for some of our text. So here we go. Step one is going to be to create a scaled drawing. You want your drawing to be the same size or just slightly smaller than the rubber block that you are carving. And you can choose to have letters included or not. Letters can be tricky to carve, so I often recommend just using rubber stamps. That also allows you to change out what message you want to include on any particular card. Our next step will be to darken the pencil line on the entire drawing. This will help us when we go to transfer our image onto the rubber block. We are going to use a technique that allows us to reverse the image at the same time by flipping the paper over onto the rubber block itself and rubbing the back of it in order to transfer the graphite from the paper onto the block. In order for that to be successful, we need a good dark line over the entire drawing. Once you finish darkening the pencil line on your entire drawing, you're ready to cut it out. I already have outlines here for the size of the block, but if you don't, you can go ahead and just trace your block onto your paper and then cut out the paper to the same size as the block. This will allow you to line it up on the block and make sure that your image is centered how you want it. Your next step is going to be to flip your drawing over and place it on top of your block, and then you're going to transfer the image by rubbing. You're going to take a wooden tool and rub it firmly all over the back of your drawing. This causes the graphite from your paper to transfer onto the rubber, and you will be able to see a really clear outline on the block itself. Be sure to check before you pick it all the way up and make sure you've got the entire drawing by kind of peeking underneath it a little bit. Usually your transfer will come out pretty clearly, but go ahead and take a couple minutes and clean up any pencil lines that are not clear on the rubber block itself. These are the lines that you're going to carve along, so you want to make sure you know exactly where you want to be carving before you actually start. Once you finish outlining your design and it looks exactly how you want, you're ready to start carving. The tools we use have interchangeable blades. There's a little collar, sort of like a drill, and you can pull out the blade and replace it with a sharper one or one that's a different size or shape. This one here in this red tool is a number 5. It's a wide flat blade, good for large areas. In the blue tool here, I have a number 1 blade, which is great for really detailed work. And then the orange tool has the blade I like to use the most, which is the number 2. It's a V shape and really great for doing outlines. I'm going to start by carving my outlines. I want to make sure that I am not pointing the blade at my hand. I don't have my left hand in front of it while I'm carving with my right hand. And I try and move the block as much as I can and keep my right hand in place. Here I've zoomed in a little bit, and you can see me just gradually following the line with the blade. I'm not going deep down. I'm running the blade parallel to the surface. And as I need to rotate, I'm just gently moving it with my left hand, being really aware of where my blade is pointing. I've got my hand kind of cupped up here so that I know that if the blade slides, it's not going to go into my hand. I'm going really slowly and making sure that I'm keeping that blade parallel with my surface and not going angled down and gouging it deeply. I'm going to just take my time and go around the entire outline here. When I get to the end of a curve, I'll go from the other direction. And just take your time and figure out what direction feels the best to you, how much you want to move your tool versus how much you want to move the block. Make sure for all of these outlines you're using the number 2 blade. And just take your time. Don't feel like you're in any rush to get this. Once you get all of your outlines carved out, you're going to want to switch your blade to a number 5, one of the big wide flat blades, and use that to carve your background. I usually start just on the outside of my outline carving and take that wider blade, and you're just basically expanding the outline in your negative space to start with. Take your time. It's always a good idea to be thoughtful about what direction you're carving, because sometimes there will be little bits of rubber that's left that leaves kind of a texture in the background. And if that is following the direction of your image or is done in a thoughtful way, maybe they're all vertical or they're all horizontal, it can look really nice. Whereas if you're just carving in every different direction, it can look really messy. So I've chosen here to just follow the kind of outline, the contours of my drawing with my background carving. Just taking my time and doing one little strip at a time, carving it away. Once you finish carving away the background, you're ready to start carving details. These are the details within your image, things like, in this case, the feathers or any kind of texture that you're adding. And I'm just taking my time with this, just like I did with the outlines. You'll notice I'm still using my orange tool here, the number 2 blade. You can go and use the number 1 blade as well, which is a little bit finer, will give you a little bit more detail. But I wanted to have pretty bold lines on mine, so I stuck with the number 2 even for my detail work here. Again, I'm being thoughtful about what direction I'm carving in, how deep I am going with my carving, making sure that I'm not gouging it, that I'm keeping my tool horizontal, and keeping my other hand out of the way so that I don't injure myself with the blade. Just taking my time, adding more and more texture to my image. Notice here I drew in something. I'm going to add some details that I didn't have in my original drawing, and then I can carve those away as well. So you can always edit as you go. Now here I've switched to the number 1, the really fine tool, to add a little bit more detail in to my image. I want this area on the throat of the bird to appear lighter, so I'm carving away more of the rubber so that less ink gets picked up in this area. If I want an area to be darker, I'll leave more of the rubber behind. Here I noticed that I missed part of the image transfer on the beak, where the edge is supposed to be dark there. So I'm replacing the image and then I'm rubbing again in order to get the line of where that beak needs to stay dark versus where it needs to be carved away. I can go back in there and carve that out. Once you are done carving, you are ready to start actually printing. We're going to use a plate, which in this case is just a sheet of plastic, And then some ink. This is just Speedball block printing ink. Comes in all different colors. And then I like to use two different brayers, a black brayer for applying my ink, and then a tan brayer for printing and applying pressure to my block as I'm printing. I'm going to squeeze just a small amount of ink onto the plate. About the size of a jelly bean works pretty well. And then I'm going to take my black brayer and I'm going to roll my brayer through the ink. When I first go in one direction, it's not going to coat the brayer all the way, so I need to make sure that I go in multiple directions. And the goal is to get the entire brayer covered in a nice thin coat of ink. Your next step is going to be to take that brayer and roll it across the top surface of your block, coating the uncarved areas with a layer of ink. You're then going to place your card on top of the block, making sure that it is upside down so that when it prints, it'll be on the front of the card, and making sure that it's lined up how you want it to be. You're going to just set it down, use your hand to get it attached so it's not moving around, and then use your tan brayer to apply even pressure going in both directions to make a print. Pull it up gently, and you have your newly printed card. Take a look at that card and see if it printed how you want. Here I see areas where it's not as dark as I would like and a few imperfections. Taking a look at the block to see if there's any issues on the block itself. And if there's nothing that I need to fix by carving, I'm just going to coat a little bit more heavily this time. So I'm adding more ink to my brayer, and then I'm going to try printing again with just a little bit heavier coating of ink and seeing how it turns out. Rolling my brayer across the surface of my block, making sure that I cover everything really thoroughly this time, especially the areas that didn't turn out how I wanted last time. Place my card upside down again, and then I use my tan brayer again, making sure I'm applying even pressure throughout, and then gently picking up my card. And then this time you'll notice it's much darker and just a lot cleaner of a print. So you'll have to get a feel for what level of ink you need for your block and the design that you have. If you have too much ink, it's going to end up looking messy and the ink will sink into the places you've carved. If you don't have enough ink, it'll be pretty sparse and not look as good as you'd like. When you are ready to make a second print in a different color, you need to clean off your block. I like to clean my block simply by applying a paper towel and then using my clean brayer to apply pressure. And this gets the ink to transfer off of the block onto my paper towel. You can wash your block in the sink, but you don't want to have the block be wet at all when you go to apply the new ink to it. And so it can take a long time to get it to dry thoroughly. So using the paper towel works pretty well. Just make sure that you don't roll the clean brayer over a paper towel that has ink on the outside. Otherwise, you're getting the brayer dirty for somebody else later. Keep doing this until there is not very much ink at all coming off of your block, and then you are ready to try a different color. Here I'm going to try an ombre, so I'm going to apply 3 different colors, a red, an orange, and a yellow. And doing an ombre has a challenge because you cannot roll your brayer in different directions. I'm going to roll my brayer through it going one direction, and instead of changing the direction, which would muddy my colors and lose the stripes, I'm going to roll my brayer in a clean area and not go back over the same area. So I'm just going in the same direction, but making sure that I've got the right amount of ink onto my brayer. I'm a little bit low, so I'm going back to my thicker ink and then applying the ink again. I can decide which direction I want to apply my ombre, whether I want to go horizontally or vertically, depending on my design. There are advantages to each one. And then I'm just following the same process that I followed last time. Applying the ink, putting my card on top, and using my clean brayer to transfer my design to the block. You will notice once you get your print how different the design can look in one color versus another. So play around with it and see what looks best for your block. This blue versus the ombre look really different. Once you have all of your prints made, in this case I made 4, you can go ahead and add your text using your letter stamps. You're going to use the same ink you used before and have it on your plastic plate, rolled out with your black brayer. And then you can simply press your alphabet stamps into that ink. It'll apply a thin coating of the ink to your stamp, and then just press it how you want it on your design. You can use the same color that you printed with before or a contrasting color. It's really up to you. Here I'm printing what's up, and we do not have an apostrophe stamp, so I'm simply using a paintbrush to add in an apostrophe between the T and the S. You can always use a paintbrush and add in any details, whether it's to your design or to your text. You could even hand paint your text if we didn't have a stamp that you liked. You can do the same expression on all your cards, or you can change it out and do something different on some cards than others. Here I'm going back to my ombre, and I'm going to do the expression aim high on these cards. I'm thinking about how I'm applying the ombre to my stamp so that it is matching the color scheme of the rest of my card. And that's it. You have successfully made your own greeting cards. You can use this idea for lots of different designs and different messages. Good work.